My name is Emily. I am telling my story because I do not want other girls to make the same mistake I made. One small choice can change your life. It can break your family. It can take away your love. That is what happened to me. I was 22 years old. I lived in Madrid, Spain. My family was not rich. My father was a taxi driver. He worked day and night. My mother stitched clothes at home. She worked many hours even when she was tired. They both gave their best. I was their only child. I was their hope for a better future. My parents wanted me to study. They dreamed that I would get a good job. They wanted me to live a life without struggle. I was lucky because I got admission to a private college. I wanted to study business management. The fees were high. My father drove longer hours to pay them. My mother sewed clothes until late at night. They made many sacrifices for me. My father always said, "Emily will have her own office. She will sit on a big chair. People will respect her." His words made me strong. I wanted to make them proud. Every morning I took a crowded bus to college. The ride was long. It was often hot and noisy. But I did not complain. I wanted to study hard. I wanted to give my parents a better life. When I was a teenager, my family decided that I would marry my uncle's son, David. He was a kind boy. He was gentle and soft-spoken. We had grown up together. He often visited our home. Over time, feelings grew between us. David would call me in the evenings. We spoke about our future. We planned to live in a small house. We even talked about names for our children. He often told me, "Emily, you are my world. I will never let you cry." I trusted him. I believed him. I thought our love was strong. I thought nothing could break it. But life changed when I went to college. I got a roommate named Sophie. She was very different from me. She was modern. She wore stylish clothes. She had a free spirit. She was bold and confident. She made many friends. Quickly, she had parties and late nights. Sophie's life looked exciting. She had Instagram and TikTok. She posted selfies, dances, and short videos. Many people admired her. Strangers sent her gifts online. She was always smiling and laughing. Next to her, my simple life looked dull. At first, I only watched, but slowly I started to feel small. She looked happy and I felt poor. She had new clothes, I had none. She had freedom, I felt stuck. One evening, Sophie spoke to me. She said, "Emily, you are beautiful. You can earn money like me. You can earn in days what others cannot earn in months. Why waste your time studying?" I laughed at first. I told her no, but inside I felt weak. My parents were struggling to pay my college fees. My father came home tired every night. My mother's eyes were red from working long hours. I thought maybe I could help them. Maybe this was a way. A few days later, I gave in. I created a secret account online. At first, I only posted small videos. They were simple. I thought there was no harm. People liked them. Followers grew. Messages came. I felt noticed, but then Sophie pushed me more. She said, "If you want to earn real money, you must post bolder videos." At first, I said no, but later I agreed. I told myself it was nothing serious, but deep inside I knew this was not right. I hid everything from my parents. I hid everything from David. Only Sophie knew. Then one day my mistake became too big to hide. I recorded a video in the hostel room. I thought it was private, but Sophie uploaded it without asking me. The video spread fast, too fast. By evening, people from my street had seen it. That night, my father called me. His voice was broken. He only said one sentence, "You have destroyed us." I could not speak. My hands were shaking. My heart felt heavy. Soon after, David called me. His voice was full of pain. He said, "Emily, I loved you more than my life. But I cannot marry someone who chose this path." Then he hung up. I dropped the phone. My heart broke. Tears ran down my face. I wanted to scream, but no words came out. I had lost David. I had lost my parents' trust. I had lost my dignity. That night, I sat alone in my hostel room. I stared at the walls. The room felt dark and heavy. I cried until I had no more tears left. My friends stopped talking to me. Even Sophie stayed away. I felt worthless. I thought of ending everything. I thought of leaving the world. I felt there was nothing left for me. But then one memory came to me. I remembered my father's words. "Emily will do great things." That memory stopped me. It gave me a small light in the darkness. I told myself, I can still change. I can still rise. The next morning, I deleted all my accounts. I blocked all fake friends. I packed my things and left the hostel. I moved into a small rented room. I told myself, I will start again. But it was not easy. My life was broken. My heart was broken. My family had lost their trust in me. David had left me. My friends were gone. I was alone, but I knew I had to survive. This was the beginning of my painful journey. Before I continue my story, please subscribe, share, and tell me where you are listening from. Your support means a lot to me. Now, let's continue. When I left the hostel, I felt lost. I carried one bag. I had no money. I had no friends. I had no family with me. I walked through the city with heavy steps. My eyes were red from crying. My heart was broken. I found a small rented room. The walls were old. The paint was falling. The window was broken. The rent was cheap. And that was all I could afford. I paid the owner with the little money I had. I sat on the floor. I felt empty. At night I could not sleep. The bed was hard. The room was cold. I cried into my pillow. I thought about my father. I thought about my mother. I thought about David. They all turned away from me. I asked myself again and again, why did I do it? Why did I not say no to Sophie? The next morning I looked in the mirror. My face was pale. My eyes were swollen, but I told myself I will not give up. I will work. I will stand again. I went out to look for a job. I walked for hours. I asked in shops. I asked in restaurants. But no one wanted me. Some people looked at me and shook their heads. Some said, "We do not need staff." I felt weak, but I did not stop. After 2 weeks, I found work in a call center. The pay was low. The hours were long, but I took it. I had no other choice. The job was hard. Every day I answered phone calls. Some people were polite. Some people shouted. Some used bad words. I tried to stay calm, but inside I cried. I often went home late at night. I lay in bed and cried silently. Still, I kept going. I told myself, this is better than the old path. This is clean work. I must continue. I saved little money each month. At first, I used it for rent and food. Sometimes I could only eat bread and tea. I missed my mother's warm meals. I missed my father's smile, but they were far away. They did not call me. They did not visit me. One evening, I sat alone with my books. I opened my old business notes. My tears fell on the pages. I wanted to study again. I wanted to finish my degree, but I had no money for fees. I decided to join evening classes. They were cheaper than full-time college. I worked in the call center during the day. I studied in the evening. I came home late at night. I was always tired. Sometimes I fell asleep on my books. But I kept trying. My health grew weak. I lost weight. My eyes looked dark. My hands shook when I picked up the phone at work. But still, I said, I must continue. This pain will not break me. Sometimes I walked past happy students. They laughed together. They bought new clothes. They went to parties. I looked at them and felt a deep ache in my heart. I once had that chance, but I lost it. I felt like an outsider. Sophie's face came to my mind often. I felt angry. She had pushed me into that world. But I also felt guilty. I made the choice myself. I could not blame her fully. I had to carry my own mistake. Months passed. Slowly, my savings grew. I was able to buy better food. I bought one nice dress for myself. When I looked at myself in that dress, I smiled for the first time in many months, but the wound in my heart was still deep. I often thought of David. Where was he now? Was he happy? Did he still think of me? One night I opened my phone and looked at his picture. Tears fell again. I whispered, I am sorry, but he was gone from my life. One winter evening, I received a letter. It was from my parents. My hand shook as I opened it. The letter was short. It said, we hope you are fine. We cannot forget what you did, but you are still our daughter. I cried for hours after reading it. Their words hurt, but they also gave me a little hope. Maybe one day they would forgive me fully. Work at the call center was still hard, but I learned patience. I learned to smile, even when people shouted at me. My manager once told me, Emily, you are improving, you are strong. Those words gave me courage. After 3 years of hard work, I finally finished my business degree. The day I held the certificate in my hand, I cried again. Not from pain this time, but from pride. I had done it. I had stood up again. With my degree, I searched for better work. Many doors were still closed. But one day I saw a small empty shop near my street. It was cheap to rent. I thought of my father's old dream. He always said I would have my own office. I did not have an office, but maybe I could have a shop. I borrowed some money from a kind teacher at my evening class. I promised to pay him back. I rented the small shop. I bought pens, notebooks, and other supplies. I opened a stationery shop. The first day I was afraid. What if no one came? But slowly people started to buy. Children came for notebooks. Mothers came for pens. Students came for paper. I sat behind the counter and served them. With a smile, I worked from morning till night. My shop was small, but it grew. Each week I added more items. I painted the walls bright blue. I put up a sign. Emily Stationery. Neighbors began to respect me. They said Madame Emily is hard work. Those words warmed my heart. For the first time in years, I felt proud. But inside, scars still remained. My parents still did not visit often. They did not speak of the past. David was gone. Sometimes at night I sat in my shop and remembered. The pain was still there, yet I also saw hope. I told myself, this is only the start. I fell once, but now I am rising. I wiped my tears and looked at my little shop. It was more than a shop. It was my second chance. It was proof that I was not lost forever. My shop grew step by step. It was still small, but it gave me hope. I worked every day from morning until night. I cleaned the shelves. I arranged the pens and books. I counted the money carefully. Every coin was important to me. It was not just business. It was proof that I could stand again. One afternoon, a man walked into my shop. He looked simple. He was tall with brown hair and glasses. He asked for notebooks for his students. I gave him what he needed. When he paid, he smiled and said, "Thank you, madame." His voice was kind. The next week, the same man came again. This time he bought pencils and paper. He asked, "Do you own this shop yourself?" I said, "Yes." He smiled. "That is very good. You must work very hard." His words touched me. It was rare for someone to notice my effort. I learned that his name was Michael. He was a school teacher. He taught history. He often came to my shop after his classes. At first, we only talked about books and pens, but slowly we started to talk about other things. He asked about my day. He asked if I was eating well. He told me about his students and their little jokes. For a long time, I had lived in silence. My nights were dark and heavy, but Michael's visits brought small lights. His words were gentle. His smile was honest. When he left the shop, I felt a little warmer. Still, I was afraid. My past was heavy. I thought if he knows my story, he will leave me too. He will look at me with shame. So I kept quiet. I only listened and smiled. One rainy evening, Michael stayed longer in the shop. We sat together while the rain hit the window. He said, "Emily, you look tired. You work too much, but I admire your strength." I looked at him and felt tears in my eyes. I wanted to tell him everything, but I held back. I was not ready. Weeks passed. Michael continued to visit. He always bought something small, even when he did not need it. He always found a reason to stop by. My heart slowly began to trust again. One day, he said, "Emily, may I take you for coffee?" My heart raced. I wanted to say no. I wanted to stay safe. But something inside me said yes. We went to a small cafe near the market. We drank coffee and talked for hours. I laughed for the first time in years. I felt light. When he walked me back, he said, "I hope we can do this again." I smiled and said yes. We met again many times. We walked in the park. We talked about life. He told me about his family. He told me he lived alone. His parents had passed away. He had a sister who lived in another city. Finally, I decided to tell him my truth. My hands were cold, my voice shook, but I said, "Michael, I must tell you something. My past is not clean. I made mistakes. Because of them, I lost my parents' trust. I lost the man I loved. I lost respect. I do not want to lie to you." Michael was quiet. He listened to every word. My eyes filled with tears. I said, "If you want to leave now, I understand." He took a deep breath. Then he said, "Emily, your past is not who you are today. I see the woman you are now. I see your strength. I see your honesty. And that is enough for me." My heart shook. I could not stop my tears. I whispered, "Thank you." For the first time, I felt accepted. We began to see each other more. Michael was gentle. He never judged me. He respected my work. He encouraged me when I felt tired. Sometimes he helped me in the shop. Sometimes he brought food for me when I forgot to eat. Slowly my heart healed. I started to smile more. My nights were not so lonely. I still carried pain, but it felt lighter with him near me. 1 year later, Michael asked me to marry him. He did not kneel with a big ring. He just looked into my eyes and said, "Emily, I want to share my life with you. Will you be my wife?" I cried. I remembered David. I remembered my old life. But I also saw the new life in front of me. I said yes. We married in a small ceremony. Only a few friends came. My parents did not come. They could not forget the past. Their hearts were still hurt, but they sent a short letter. It said, "We wish you well, be happy." I read it with tears. It was not full forgiveness, but it was something. Michael and I built a simple home. We cooked together. We talked in the evenings. He respected me. He gave me peace. He never asked me about my past again. He only looked at who I was now. My shop grew bigger. With Michael's support, I opened another branch in a nearby street. People began to call me Madame Emily. With respect, children smiled when they saw me. Neighbors spoke kindly about me. I felt proud again. Still at night, I sometimes cried silently. I thought about my father's eyes. I thought about my mother's silence. I thought about David. He had married another woman. I hoped he was happy, but in my heart his memory stayed. I learned something important. You can rise again, but scars remain. You can build a new life, but the old pain does not disappear completely. It becomes part of you. I wanted young girls to know this truth. Do not run after fake lights. Do not betray the trust of your parents. Do not lose real love for a few moments of attention. The cost is too high. One day I told Michael, I still wish my parents could forgive me fully. He held my hand and said, give them time. Some wounds heal slowly, but they still love you. I can see it. His words gave me comfort. Years passed. Life became stable. My shops did well. Michael and I lived in peace. Sometimes my parents visited us. They sat in silence. They did not speak about the past, but they looked at me with softer eyes. My mother touched my hand one evening and said, you are strong. It was the closest she came to forgiveness. I still carry pain, but I also carry hope. My mistake almost destroyed me, but I stood again. I rebuilt my life. I found love again. And now I share my story with you. Please learn from me. Do not choose the wrong path. Do not hurt the people who love you most. Do not give your dignity away for likes and comments. Your true value is not in numbers online. Your true value is in your heart, your honesty, and your respect. Do not forget that. I rose again, but the scars will always remain. Thank you for listening to my story. If my story touched your heart, please share it with someone you care about. Like this video and subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories in simple English. Your support helps me.